There we go. I do believe we're live. So, I'll say indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friend. What a dear pleasure it is to have you here again on another conscious evolution. Another opportunity for us to consider all the people we've been and all the people we'll be. Indeed. It's nice having you here with me. Dear Zhao, holding you so dearly, all the way on this side of the world. All meditating on the fact that I have so much potential. You know? You know all that potential we humans have? You know? Right? 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 And then, and then, the fact that we have potential to be someone else. I absorbed some information from Roofman. Roofman, I think it's called. Mr. Jeff breaking into the roofs of a bunch of McDonald's and then living in a Toys R Us. Basically getting himself a new family. And then getting himself a new identity in order to flee prosecution. And during that whole experience, that's the thing that I was really taken by. Clearly, he was the same person the whole time. But he had to be different people to continue being at all. And it put me in this whole tailspin of like all the versions of me that I'll be as my circumstances requires me to be. And then there is the version of me that we can call it worry, is concerned with the fact that there is the potential, of course, for me to fail. I could fail. Absolutely unacceptable. That would be a tragedy, wouldn't it, Darren? But it could happen. Olcott. And I don't know who I'll be if I'm a failure. That is the gist of today's stream, the real depth of it. Like, who am I? Who am I if I fail? Who am I? Am I still worthy of being at all? I ask myself. Darren, I'm not being anybody else if I'm not being paid to. Where are you from? I'm from South Africa. Alcott. Born and raised here in South Africa. It has been an eventful world to live in. I have been many different versions of myself in this country. Some of them worse than others. Some of them better. The very first version of me that I was a very curious kid. Morbidly curious. Light things on fire. Make things explode. There was a certain experimentalness, right? That version of me was a little scientist, trying to figure out the boundaries of my existence. Then I grew up a little bit. And I became slightly more ambitious, right? I felt all of this experimentation that I was up to was a trajectory that I was taking, that I needed to continue experimenting and ideally build technologies that would be seen as valuable. So, as an 8-year-old, I shit you not. Is that Brittany? Brittany giving me flowers? That's nice, Brittany. That's nice. I like flowers. I thought that I was going to build weapons. 9, 10, 11-year-old. That version of me wanted to be someone who builds weapons. Not weapons for killing people, weapons for killing buildings, melting them, literally. I wish I was joking. Sirs. Like turning the building material into goo, essentially. I didn't really think about scooping the goo up and using it again, but this version of me would be like, yeah, we can recycle the buildings. Surely. Then that idea kind of died, right? I felt it was less interesting. I was like, if I solve that problem, if I figure out how to melt buildings, then what? And I was like, yeah, sounds lame. I'm going to build flying cars instead. My 11, 12-year old version of myself had said. Love the pants. Thank you, friend. They are not as clean as they could be, but I'm happy you like them. I like them too. They were a gift from Jovan. Very cool. I like them. I like you for liking my pants too. Nice. Thank you. These and the purple Viking like pants. They're super cool. All gifts from you, y'all. I really do like wearing gifts. I enjoy being adorned in gifts. I was pissing the mom off taking apart washing machines at that age. Yeah. I went through that as well. That was my tinkering stage. That was my 5 to 6 to 7 year old stage. I was taking things apart. Anything and everything I could. My favorite thing that I ever had taken apart at that point in my life was a printer. Fascinating. So enjoyable just taking a screwdriver deeper and deeper until I am just left with a bunch of pieces. There's metal. There's metal in printers. I didn't know that until that moment. I was like, I even remember keeping those little metal bars that I extracted from the printer. I never used them for anything, but I felt like maybe could have. Yeah, and then when I was on my way to 13, I wanted to be, how do you say, dead. I'm so sorry. I should not make light of it, but that's basically where I was at that age in my life, right? Where I was like, oh, I suddenly became disillusioned with reality. I started reading a lot more at that point in my life as well, which I don't know if it technically didn't help. In other words, I don't know if the books made me more depressed. I think what made me depressed is just the reality that nobody knew what the hell was going on, right? Like the data that I was absorbing was very much like, oh yeah, this is what we know about people and psychology and the way that they interact with one another and the reasons. And it all felt very confined, limiting. Maybe that's a good word, yeah. All felt very limiting. And I felt stuck. I felt stuck in my human body. I felt stuck on planet Earth. I felt stuck in this little town. I'm still in to this day. I felt stuck in primary school, felt stuck in high school. And then I became more dark as a result as well. Right. Just that lack of care, that complete abandonment of almost like enthusiasm for existence. That was like me at 14, 15, 16. And then that version of me had more friends, in so many words, and learned how to love himself a little bit more. And then that self-love eventually translated to me starting to take better care of my physical well-being. And then I unironically believe that that was what I was supposed to do at one point as well. That I was supposed to make that my whole purpose. That that's who I was supposed to be. Someone who works out and looks good on camera. How long did that last? A year? A little bit longer. 2 years? 2 years. I never had what it takes, to be completely honest. I don't have what it takes when it comes to meticulously calorie tracking indefinitely and potentially using steroids. All right. Like I just ain't got it. You have to be a certain level of cracked to go that far. And I fortunately remain uncracketh in that way. But I still felt like it could be a thing. And then when that ended up not being a thing, right? At that point in my existence, I was also working in AV. I was, at that point, listening to books became a lot more in. And I do not share this as a point of pride, more as a point of the person that I've been. But I was listening to Grant Cardone books religiously. Like, I think I listened to, was it 3 of his books? And it was a version of me, again, right? Grant Cardone believes any single person on planet Earth can make themselves a millionaire by starting in a sales position. Right? All you have to do is get some sort of position in sales, and then you become really good at selling things. And then if you can get even better, then you'll sell even more, and then you'll make monies. Right? I'm butchering his entire literature, but that's like the gist of it. If you want me to tell you what you need to know about Grant Cardone's work, that's most of it. I feel like I'm being mean. I don't know why. Why am I throwing jabs? This version of me is throwing jabs at that version of me for thinking the information to be good. Just good. I don't think it's good information. It doesn't work that way. Right? And then when I became disillusioned again, right, of that reality, technically my workplace's company structure changed. And they went from being a installer that works on the basis of sales towards being a maintenance team, essentially, for their corporate clients. So I became a glorified techie, all right? I had a cool title. I was called project manager, yes. But I had to go and manage projects. And that looked like just like pulling the same HDMI cable, right, for the 4th time because people keep breaking the connectors. And it drove me insane. And that version of me complained. Big surprise. Who would have guessed? Me? Never. And I moved. I went to China. Went to China and I became a teacher. And that version of me did change a little bit as well. That version of me was a lot more content in just continuing my mediocre existence. And I'm saying mediocre not from the perspective of a teacher's life is mediocre. The life that I was living in that space was mediocre. All right? Like, I could have made it more fun to myself, surely. I could have gone out drinking with my colleagues every time they invited me to. But I made it a point to let them know that that was really bad for you. And you shouldn't do that. So I wasn't very popular, right? I could follow a conversation if someone asked me something, but I was not the person to go drink with. right? I'm not the guy you invite if you want a good drinking buddy who's going to last the night with you, right? Gonna go one to one drinking all night with you. Nope, not your guy. I'm sorry. It's not that. I've never been, ever, for never, ever have I been that person in my life. That's the person to be. I could be, maybe, but not in this life. And I just spent a lot of time at home, right? Basically, keeping myself busy, playing games, watching TV shows, shopping online. That was who I was. That was my whole existence. And to be completely honest, I could have continued to exist like that. The problem was that I didn't have enough people to talk to. That was the big bottleneck for me, that who I am does need a certain support structure, right? Needs some knowing that if I, it's almost like real friends. Just the word like real friends, right? I felt like I didn't have any real friends. I felt like I was alone. Despite the fact that there were colleagues, right, that wanted to drink with me. And interestingly enough, the parents of my students were in love with me as well, right? Maybe that is me blowing smoke up my ass, but they were very vocal about wanting to take me out places. And I would sometimes take them up on their offers, but it would take my whole weekend. So they would like, yo, we want to take you somewhere, Melt. And then Friday night, they come and fetch me and they drive me out to some fishing village. All right. And I fish with like a bunch of old guys just fishing. I caught the biggest fish that day. That version of me did, I'll proudly say. And then they bring me this old lady, right? I shit you not, late 80s, old lady. Like she's walking slow. I see her coming from a mile away and like, it's gonna take an eternity. And then as she's like coming, walking on, the parent of the student that took me to this place, he lets me know, this is a Chinese lady that lived in this village her whole life. She has never seen a foreigner before. She has never seen a foreigner before. 80 plus years of life. And suddenly I'm like, oh my goodness. This version of me is now going to be witnessed by a soul that has literally lived like four at that point. 4 of my lifetimes she's lived. And now she's going to meet me as the representation of a foreigner. And in South African culture, it's very huggy, right? It's normal for us to hug our elders. So as this old lady comes walking up to me, and I've heard old lady has never seen a white person before, I go to hug her. I go, oh, hello. And she goes, oh. She like stumbles backwards. Like she didn't fall, thank goodness. But she stumbles backwards and they go, no, 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 no. No, don't try and hug the old lady. Don't do that. And then I laughed shyly, and then she realized that I was just trying to be nice, and then she laughed at me. And then she went, and then she left. And she left. I think that was the strangest moment I've had. I also had like many different times where they just want to go drinking with you as well. The parents too. That's part of the reason why I wouldn't take them up on their offers all the time. Is that Victoria? Is that Victoria on her channel? Hey, Victoria. It's nice having you here. Sending you love. Oh, hey Darren. It's nice having you here too, bro. You're laughing at my story. Teddy's family aren't big into hugging either, and they reacted the same way. It was and continues to be hilarious. Yeah. You get what I'm talking about then, Sam. like you're going to hug a person and this person looks at you like you have rabies. And they are like scared of you now. It's like, what? Did I do something wrong? Is there something on my face? South Africans are so huggy. It was so interesting to be hugged by property managers. Yeah. Joe got hugged by, I think Jill. Jill gave us hugs. I'm pretty sure Roselda gave us hugs as well. I think I just shook Zane's hand. I don't think he would have hugged us if we wanted hugs, but I think I just shook his hand. And I'm pretty sure, I feel Clive. Yeah, Clyde. I was about to say Clyde was a little bit. Isn't it Clive? Alive at 5 of Clive. Was it Clyde or was it Clive? I think it's close enough, right? CL and it ends with an E. Same, but different. He looked like he knew South Africa had a hugging culture, and he was like doing it as a courtesy, but also like it was just like, yeah, let's just hug and get it over with or whatever. That's kind of the way I saw Clive. I enjoyed him too. Oh, yeah. Most of the property managers gave us hugs. I didn't want a hug from Zane. No offense to Zane. It was totally Clive. Okay, yeah, there it is. Yeah, Zane was eccentric. Very colorful individual. Right? In a way where I don't think he would be into glitter, but he might be into glitter. And because he is into glitter, I wouldn't want a hug from him either. Less I get glitter on me too. You know? I like you. I like watching you sparkle. Wow, sparkly, sparkly. But don't touch me. I don't like glitter on my body. I don't know if your friends can see this. You can kind of see it. Can you see it there? This one is still a little bit swollen. Yesterday, as I was going for a walk on the farm, I clearly stumbled upon some wasps' nests. And it was not very happy about me finding them. I still don't know where they are, but clearly I found them enough for them to deter me from being there. And it was very painful, relatively speaking, to the amount of wasps stungs I've had before. And persistent. Like, it stung me multiple times in like an instance. Real quick, stung me multiple times. And my entire hand has been hurting as a result of it. A little bit. This version of me that I am, the version of me that I was last night, yesterday as well, kind of dealing with the swelling and the pain, was seeing it as a potential remedy, right? That I would like for my lower back to be stung by wasps to see if it helps. But that version of me needs to be put in a cage. That version of me wants very sophisticated technology, especially so to be able to render potential outcomes. All right. I would like for me to have an ultra-realistic model of my own body in a machine. And then I would like for myself to be able to simulate a wasp, and then to be able to simulate and render the venom in its little pouch, glands, pocket. You tell me. And then to let the digital version of me get stung. See if he dislikes it a lot. Suddenly I'm having like a whole moral conundrum in my mind. I'm like, I can't do that. Even if I did. Because it's like this whole fractal of for it to be realistic enough for me to gain the information that I'm looking for me to extract the value. That thing might be so sophisticated that it can actually feel pain. And then it brings me back to me being the experiment, right? I am the one experimenting on myself. And on that note, I will. It's still hot despite the fact that it's raining. I don't always like that. No. But I am grateful for the rain. That's true. If you're just joining us, welcome. We do one of these live streams every single day. Today's conversation has been about all of the different people we've been. I have been sharing from my perspective all of the different people that I have been, but I am sharing from my perspective to give you some context on who it is we're becoming. You have been many different versions of self. I can't know necessarily who you've been at all. But acknowledging that we've been many different versions of ourselves, I do think that there is some sort of room to consider who it is we're becoming. What comes next, not only for you as a person, but for us as a species. I want to continue being an ambitious person. I think even better, because ambition can usually be related to acquisition of resources and status. Hope. You can just use the word hope. I want to be a hopeful person. I want to have hope. I want to have hope that there is good stuff that awaits, right? I've been that person for the most part. For the most part, it's not always easy. Especially in a world that gatekeeps. It is a gatekeeping kind of thing. Right? Like I have hope. I have hope and ambition that longevity tech will become available eventually. But there is a part of me that realizes that there is a possibility for hopelessness in watching how things have been. Right? In other words, I am hopeful that we human beings have the sophisticated technologies and abilities to apply these technologies to the point where we can literally extend human lifespans. I think right now, today, we are already capable of that, right? If all strange sounds again. If all the stuff that we know right now can be properly implemented, some sort of plan can be devised, right? We can already extend human lifespan. However, how expensive is that going to be? And who's it going to be available to? And again, I have been hopeful that it's going to be available to all of us eventually. Answering both. But the version of me that I am right now needs to continue to have that hope in his heart, right? Like that's the version of me that I want to be, no matter what. And in that way, it becomes a little bit easier, I feel, And that's almost like the lesson that I'm trying to portray in today's topic. It becomes a little bit easier to deal with life's problems when you have a identity that you're trying to manifest or maintain, as opposed to a certain set of events. For instance, right, again, one of the hopes that I have is to one day create a clothing brand. I would like for it to be 100% hemp products. And you've seen the way that I wear clothing. I would like for it to be beautiful enough to be something that you want to wear, of course. But I would want for you to buy it once and then wear it for the next 10 to 15 years. Right? I haven't been able to do that. The longest a pair of clothing has lasted me, like this pair of shirt has been getting worn for the last 5 years now. It's going on 5 years. And I had this whole hope, right? To share it from that perspective. I had this whole hope that before I'll need to buy myself new clothing, I'll be able to wear my own. Right? I'll get to represent my own brand, kind of thing. And it clearly takes longer than I predicted to do that, which I guess is to be expected. The hemp industry has had a long time worth of suppression, to call it that, right? And there isn't as many sophisticated machines that makes the textiles as there is for cotton or polyester, for example. So in that way, it is like I'm limited by the amount of resources reality has assigned, right? But I still do have hope that it will be a thing one day. While at the same time having to realize that the hope I had of getting to wear my own clothes might have to take a little bit more time. Does disappointment diminish hope? It feels like that sometimes, right? I've definitely had it happen to me. Again, who is it I want to be? Do I want to be someone that gets their hope taken from them when they don't get their way, when they're disappointed? When I frame it like that, it feels very, very silly for me to do that, doesn't it? You giving me eyes? You seeing me looking around? I'm hearing sounds. I don't know if you're hearing the sounds with me, but there are some strange sounds. I think this is my uh, crackpot theory. I think that box freezer behind me has a rhythm to the compressor, and then if it like skips a beat or something, it makes a little sound. And I think that's the sound that I was hearing. Man, you look blasted. Can I tell you a little secret, Sam? Here out in the open, in the middle of the internet. I did take an mimicry in between two layers of weed. Put some keef. The fine powdery weed stuffs that falls through the little sieve. put some in the middle there. And it clearly has affected me. I'd say. The box freezer is haunted. I mean, if any object in a house would be, it probably would be the box freezer, wouldn't it? Right? Can all of us collectively be like, yeah, that checks out? That makes sense. Makes sense that the box freezer would be the haunted thing. Is that Mojo? Hey, bro. It's nice having you here. Sending you blessings. Is that Dan Gray? Yeah, the dude. Jovan, let me know. It's been I don't know if it's been a couple of months, but it's definitely been a couple of weeks. No, I think it's been a couple of months. She let me know that you would like to join us in the space, and she asked me to unban you. And I was like, Dan's banned? And she was like, yeah, it seems that way. And then I went and checked, and it was true. Click the button. It's nice to see you, bro. We love you too. It's nice having you here, Dan. How's life treating you, bro? Today we're having a whole conversation about all of the different people we've been. How fitting for you to be here with us, because you're a completely different person. When you take this much time between almost like instances in this space, it's a lot more stark, the contrast of now the different person that you are. You want to reintroduce yourself to us? It's nice to have you here, friend. Sending you love. Hearts in chat. Love y'all. Bless. Yes, all the frozen peas that have been used as ice packs that got smooshed by hands. Never a side dish, just a plaything. I bet that damn freezer is haunted. We don't do that here in South Africa. Like, at all. I have not once in my life wasted a bag of peas putting it on a injury. We have actual ice. We do actual ice, or we'll do ice packs. Yep. Those are usually the go-tos. We never do the peas thing. But I do like the fact that the bard that is Sam was like, oh, Melt is doing a bit about all of the dead things we put inside our deep freezers. I'm gonna spin it with the peas. Smart and clever. Is that a gobbledygook? Gobbledygook here too? Dan, David, Doodly, Double Dog, Diggity Damble. It's nice having you here. Dear Gobbledygoose, what a pleasure it is to have you here too. We get a dad and a goobs. That feels synchronous to me. Karen Homeowner Association. I don't even know if I want to start reading what comes next. The word homeowner association scares me. Like, I don't know what that is. I know how to stop trying to explain. I know what it is. I don't know what that is. You know what I mean? In the world I'm in, I'm a literally, like actually, miles. 20, no, closer to 16-ish. 16 miles away from the first place that will sell me fuel or food. All right? Oh, I have to go wrong time before there's anything to eat again. You know, in an apocalypse kind of scenario. So the idea of like a homeowners association, a bunch of people that will like look at your house and be like, not up to spec. Oh, is that grass? 3.5 inches? Don't you know that the spec is 3 inches? Have some fun. So I'll read it anyway. Have you guys... as I start reading, have you considered remodeling your home? It's a bit outdated. I work for the Homeowners Association. If you were in my town, I would have had that home condemned. You know the best part, Karen? In America, you probably would have the power to, right? This house would be condemnable. Very old. Very, like, old. And, like, relatively speaking, you can say poorly built, but it's better to say like roughly built, you know, built with character, built with grit, built without any inkling of what a straight line looks like. This home, like I think this home was built between 60 and 80-ish years ago, but it stands and it's dry inside. The garage has some water leakage. All right, that would be a good one for your homeowners association tick badge. But the actual home is cozy. I'm happy to be inside right now. And I think in that way, that's what the home should be. The aesthetics, I feel, is something that is of course important, but it is only so important. All right. For me, it's more important what it looks like outside your house than what it looks like looking at your house and inside your house. I do want to build myself an earthship, and that's going to be even more rough and no straight lines than this is, like extremely rough. Rough, like rough plus. But that would be a place I'd be happy to call my home. So yeah, plans to be made. I'm thinking about home building stuff right now as well. Ayo, the peace thing is a little more acceptable to families on WIC who have a lot of frozen vegetables courtesy of the government checks. That's nice. I felt like alliterating on the letter D. Diggity damn. You did it, dude. Love is true. Yes, Mel, my soul is one that needs to be galvanized with heat and pressure. Appreciate y'all's role and patience in that. Love Mall. Bro, I remember the context of that whole situation was just never about us as a community disliking you as a person. I think it was a matter of like almost like personal grievances. And because we're in the same space, it just became loud. All right. Almost like, you know, maybe there's a party happening and then two people like we're playing a party and maybe we're playing something that needs focus. All right. I don't know, charades. We're playing charades. And then meanwhile, while like someone is trying to get a point across, two people start having like a shouting conversation with each other. Then you'd be like, hey, don't you wanna like go outside while you're doing that? And unfortunately with these mediums, outside looks very bad. I'm happy that it's over, right? That moment passed and we're happy to have you here, dear friend. Love is true. I have become many different people. I don't know if you know, I don't know how long ago you talked to Joe, but things and me have changed. I will become American very soon. Me, America. I'll be the person America needs me to be. That terrifies me to say, but it's true. It is true. I trust that America will let me be a friendly person. I'll be friend. I'll be friend. I will. Biggest of friends. It's true. Wait, Dan? Yeah, it's true. Poopsie Dan from our pad. It's true. I'm unclear on which Dan's company we are enjoying. Now we know. Giovanna's falling off with my. I'm falling off with my Duolingo. It is consistency and a lot of dedication. I did see Joe also like stress sometimes about not being able to do it. Frankly, brother, I was spiraling at the time, but the lessons learned can't be replaced. That's true. Love is true, bro. That is the way it happens, right? And it's so apt. That is today's whole conversation. Is that you are going to be many different people in your life. Sometimes you're going to be that person that's spiraling. And it's not forever. Bro, you're moving to the USA? Whoa, yeah. I'm getting married, Dan. I'm getting married to an American. Yeah. Can you guess who? Let's play a little guessing game. Who would I be marrying, Dan? What? Yeah. Yeah, bro. This guy is. Wait, you mentioned Joe Schmo? Joe. I'm getting married to Joe Schmo. That's the funniest what I've heard. That would be a little close. Close. It's true. It's true, right? If Gabby Goo was here, he would alliterate right now. Dad. It's like Joe Schmo. I wish he was here. Mojo, I could be Mojo, right? Mojo's already happily married with kids, unfortunately. Otherwise, Mojo would be next on the chopping block. Melt lore trivia fact. Gob offered Melt the green card marriage first. It's true. You see, Gobbledygoo technically, would have been the better guess than Shame on You. How can you not remember that key Melt lore trivia fact? Right? That's gonna be an important one. Gobs. Love is true. What do you get when you cross a hippie with a Yeti? Asking for a friend. Uh, Yetis are the like snow Sasquatches, right? Is that right? With a hippie. Asking for a friend. In my mind, I'm just imagining, like, and this feels very almost reductive, but I'm imagining a Yeti just being a stoner. And like, they like, ta-da. Ta-da! There is your hippie Yeti. Melt moves multi-continent to marry the most marvelous Mobot. That wasn't my best work. I feel it checks out. As Dan continued to guess, don't leave me hanging. Who is it? And where are you going to be located? Indiana. I was thinking that Joe giving like a little laughy face is going to be the thing that gives it away. It's Joe Vaughn. I'm getting married to Joe Vaughn. That should have been like, I feel part of me feels like it should have been like a little bit of a hint where I was like, yeah, me and Jovan talked like, was it weeks or months ago? Right. The fact that I talk so much to Joe that I can't distinguish between weeks and months with the amount of conversations. It's like, yeah, should check out Dan, see if we can unban. Is that Michigan Viking? Michigan Viking. You'll have to come and see me in Michigan. I'd love to. I really love to. Dear friends. Like, I know it goes without saying, but do reach out to me on the Discord. Like, I do want to like send a soft invitation. I don't know what the venue is going to be like yet or how much seating we'll have. But if you want to mission out to be there with us, we'd like having you there too. I know she's a Midwest girl. Yeah, Indiana, bro. Gonna go to the mirror of a forest. All right, my America experience is gonna be the one I've longed for. You really do have so much beautiful. Like, I've not seen like actual just like forests, right? That's not something that really happens that much here in South Africa. We plant them, but I don't feel like counts. If the lucky life form would like to identify themselves, they can. You'll have to come and see me in Michigan. Wait, Jovan? Yeah, Lamal, of course. There it is. Yeah, it makes a lot more sense, right? I'm doing celebratory fist bumps and yelling in my living room. Yeah, yeah. I was made in the Midwest. Look at that, Gobs, and you came out good, bro. Hot damn. Midwest must be a good place. They made you, bro. That explains a lot about you, Gob. Don't you listen to her, Gobs. It explains everything in the best of ways, of course. Right? How stereotype, and stereotype. You know what I mean. I don't know the Midwest well enough to even know the stereotypes that goes alongside it. I would love to come visit some nature. Of course, y'all always have a place in the concrete jungle. You're still in New York? Nice. The Big Apple. I've been like exposed to so many instances of New York like trying to crawl into my mind. That's wholesome, bro. Thank you for the love. We really do appreciate the offer. I mean, New York is a whiles away from Indiana, but it's not completely the other side of the country, at least, right? So it can be done. It would be nice. Get to meet some friends. Takes one to know one, Sam. Yeah, I was made in Wisconsin, born in Iowa, moved to Texas at age 10. That is some movement. And you're still in Texas, right? I understand that. Texas feels like, for me, the South Africa of the United States. I don't know why, but to me, that's what it feels like when I think about Texas. I'm like, yeah, that's America's South Africa right there. Does that offend anybody when I think that? Your freaking sounds keeps getting made. That deep freeze is definitely haunted. I know it by the way. The very first oop, gobbity goop. Love is true. If I'm in Jersey City, but I wear Jersey City, it's more a part of New York City than Staten Island. I'm in Jersey City. It's more a part of New York City than Staten Island is. Okay, yeah, and Staten Island is also very close, right? You're in that area. New York is accessible to you, right? If you have to go to something in the middle of the city of New York, it's not going to take you a day to get there. Might take you half a day with the amount of traffic. I don't know. Stereotyping. What is the code you speak? I can't even imagine, Goob. I've been in the northeastern boy my whole life. What is the code you speak? You talking about gobbity speaking Gabum? Giabolo? Crick or creek, Gab? I remember saying crick. I'm also lost on the code, bro, suddenly. Why does crick upset me? And rough for a roof? Linda or Angelina is here as well. I'm so lost. I'm also lost on the code that's being spoken, Darren. Me and you can speak new code though. Uh, yeah, you go first. Oh man, I work in the downtown Brooklyn, so I count as a New Yorker. Nice. Congratulations in that case, on all the changes to come, I'll say. And I mean that actually, what's the word I'm looking for? Authentically? No. We have a word in Afrikaans that goes opreg. Uh, sincerely. There we go. Yeah. Sincerely. Life is a big old experiment, and I'm looking forward to seeing how New York continues to evolve. Mm-mm-mm. I moved up there, Dan. I have a bestie in PA. That's where I'm from. Philly, born and raised. There it is. Mom's still there, right? I fantasize about having a wheat farm in upstate New York. That is an incredible goal to have. I imagine Gabadygoo growing these beautifully crafted artisanal buds, right? That look like little gemstones and are presented as such. Something that is supposed to be savored and appreciated, right? Go max terpenes. So more terpenes, less THC. That's my vote. I want I want terpene levels at the levels that we're getting THC right now. If we get that, that would be so insane. It would be like a little bit of a sense explosion. But yes, sign me up, coach. You can take 5%. Take 10. You can take 10% of the THC. Give me 10% more terpenes. Boom. Happy melt forever. Super happy. I can see you, Gabs. Genetically, I don't know if you're into that stuff. I think you could be, right? Having tech to one day be directly involved in the genetic engineering process of super optimizing your plants for the exact traits that you want. The future is bright. My grandma lived in Jersey City. I have fond memories, although my dad called it dirty shitty. Jersey City. Oh, Mojo. That's kind of funny still. Where is JC Mojo? Good. How about you? I do all the web marketing. Nice for your farm. That's wholesome. Love is true. Hey, Angelina. It's nice having you here. I think so. I think you're right, Joe. 22 McAdoo Avenue. I remember the address because it rhymes. That is nice. I've never spent much time in New York, but my buddy went and bought gummies from a weed truck, like an ice cream truck. That's fun. Yeah. It is definitely being consumed a lot more, and it is a lot stronger than it ever has been. And it's less tabooed than ever before to just be high all the time in that way. But it's better than criminalizing everybody, right? And I do think it's better for us to be given more rope than to be tied down. We do get extremes in all of these, right? Many different people that they get to be in their personhood, right? Some people will participate, some people will occasionally partake, some people will be paranoid. Some people will pumpy on pumps. Poppity. You know what I mean? Sometimes. Sometimes. Sam, how are you so smart? Sam brought a whole extra entity into this world for one, right? So at one point, she literally was two brains in one. That's pretty smart. And she's also a bard, right? So she writes, she engages her mind to think. That definitely does help. Is that Natasha van Vreden? Hi Natasha, gaan het met jou? Gaat goed met mij, dankie. Ja, hier is ons. Twee Afrikaanse mensen op je internet. Kan je het over vertellen? Bless you. Natasha van Vreden is a very, very Afrikaans name. I'm assuming. I might be wrong. But it is fun. No, I'm not her, but I'm on my mom's phone. That's checks out too. Welcome anyway, dear Fred. Sending you blessings. Mm, about the legal weed industry. That industry is wild, erasing history, unlike the Pepper story, which is very well tracked. Yeah, that's true. Darren and Dan with the same profile avatar thing. I'm gonna get all mixed up. Two D's in the thing. It's true. I've been getting mixed up too. Mm-hmm. Hey, Meltmore. I'm in a vehicle. I have the keys. I have nothing to add to this talk. Well, I can add to your life the hope that you drive safe. Bless you, dear hoopty hoops. Hope to entertain you as you're driving. I'm not her. I'm Tristan. Ah, that Tristan? Maar Tristan, jy is Afrikaans in elk geval. Mos. Engeling. Yo, Tristan. Love is true. I stole the little phone. The resume? The resume ready term is polymath, but that just makes me sound like an asshole. I'm self taught. Yeah. I had a moment like that as well, where like I had ChatGPT analyze all of our chats and consider the work I do. And it did tell me that I am what they would consider a polymath. But I've also not proclaimed that about myself. You know, I'm a polymath. Have I told you? No, can't do that. I think people know I'm smart. I don't have to tell them. I don't have to tell them. I just wish I could apply myself better. I do want to get into 3D a lot more. Valve just dropped new hardware and it might be enticing enough for me too. Should I quit YouTube? You want my complete and honest answer? If the question is, should you quit YouTube when it comes to the process of creation, Tristan? Why can't I get subs? Okay. Yeah, well, Tristan, I've been doing this for 5 jaar. 5 years of my life. I don't know how old you are right now, but take that number and then minus 5 years from it. You should have been creating videos from that age to have been creating videos for as long as I have today. And I've been doing it every single day. All right. So if your cadence is like once a week, then suddenly it becomes like, you know, a decade. So that's the amount of work that I've put into this space. And I have gotten 1,704 subscribers. That's the number last I checked. And it can be disheartening to feel like you're putting so much of yourself into that space day after day, and you're not getting millions of subscribers. But if you have more than one subscriber, if you have more than one watch on a video, that means that you are impacting the world, right? A single person's attention is as valuable as all of it. And I feel today's stream topic is about realizing that that's who you need to be identified with in the content creation space. That's who I'm identified with in creating these live streams. I'll show up if there's a single person. If there's 0 people in the live with me, I'll show up if there's the most there's been in a day, or at the time was like, I think like 6,000. That was on my birthday when I turned 24. It melted my brain, right? In fact, that experience made it more intimidating for me to be live than not having all of the viewers or subscribers. So the point I'm trying to make is continue to create, because that's the thing that's valuable. At the end of your life, You're not going to ask yourself how many subscribers did I have, but was I someone who created? Is ek iemand wat goed gemaak het of net goed geëet het? So okay om goed te eet. It's all right to eat things. It's fine to eat stuff, right? To consume. It's completely okay. However, the imbalance that exists in our society right now is that there are people consuming and not creating. And who do you want to be at the end of your life? Do you want to be identified? Do you want to be the person that's purely a consumer? Or do you want to be the person that is a creator? And YouTube is just another medium, right? Another canvas for you to be a creator upon. No matter what it is you do, continue creating, Tristan. That is the prime directive, the moral imperative. That is what's important. Should I quit YouTube? No, again, don't quit YouTube. Continue to create. Exactly how many times do you have to hear the word no? Stop being mean. You're spamming. Yeah. Yeah. Gosh. Angelina. That's like asking the sun to stop rising. No. Angeline. Not Angelina. Technically, your name is Linda. Rolling through to say hi and bye. Still sick. Oh, Nancy. Holding you here. We hope you feel better soon, dear friend. For real? No, cut it out. Love is true. Not the people being on six. I like learning the whereabouts of where my plants come from. It shows the story of movement. Yeah. I had a whole moment like that yesterday, Darren, where I was looking at a certain type of tree that produces these hardened shell gourds. And inside of those hardened shell gourds are these thick pits surrounded by this sweetish kind of, it's a little bit rancid. It's not a good flavor. Fruits. And there were some of them on little magneta where they couldn't have rolled, so they had to have been moved by an entity, right? Like a monkey or a baboon or something. And when I climbed that mountain in the background, I saw some things poop, and it had those pits in the center of it, right? Well, there were multiple pits technically. So clearly there was something up there as well that had eaten those fruits. And it is in that way propagating its existence to other parts of the world, right? It just living its life, eating something, and then pooping somewhere, begets the next opportunity for another version of its kind to eat something in the future. And I also had a whole moment of that thought. I was like, plants are cool. Thank you for loving your plants too, Darren. Darren, I have a feeling your home is lovely and lively with happy plants. I do remember him saying, almost got too many of them. It's beautiful that you do have so many things that relies on you, adds life to your home. I didn't see that, Dan, but it is time. It is time for me to show you flowers, read you poems, say you goodbyes. A little spider just came inside. Hope you like pink. My hard eyes. Where you going? I give my hard eyes. I do like them hard eyes. All right. Nice, nice, nice. This one is so sweethearty. It does have that element to it, right? The lines are so crispy. Snozzberry pie. Getting yourself some snozzberry pie. It would be so cool. I mean, it's not that far fetched. We can create edible types of inks, right? Might sound weird, but and then you can create a machine that can micro dot pigment it down onto something, and then you can make yourself. I don't know if snozzberry is an actual thing, but you can make some sort of pie, and then you can print a psychedelic flower onto it. Yes, get to eat something pretty. Big James, I do actually remember you. It's nice having you here, Big James. Sending your blessings, friend. How's life treating you? I just showed our friend some flower. It's a 9 geometry one. There it is again. And now I'm going to read this little poem associated with it. The place where all things meet. Thank you, Hoops. Blessing Big James too. The place where all things meet. It looks so cool. Thank you. It's kind of similar to the colors of your profile picture. Blues and pinks and whites. Big James, this channel is intended for adults. I think Big James have been here before. Long time ago. Like almost 2 years ago. But I don't know if they were an adult back then either. It is true. We do discuss, I want to say complicated topics. I don't know if they're necessarily adult. I definitely don't try to talk about stuff that would be seen as deprived, right? But it's true. Might be a little bit out of your depth. But the space is going to be here even when you age, right? One day, when you're 65 years old, type in MeltMore, right, in the year 2044, and then you'll find this space still. Big James, love's true. MeltMore, desserts, Lamau. You could make your own ice cream. It would be a good name for an ice cream brand, wouldn't it? Get some MeltMore. It would have to be good for you, though. That's the big thing, Dan. I wouldn't really be able to, without any personal grievances, be able to sell something that is bad for people. Right? If I actively know people eating that stuff is killing them, I'd be not selling it anymore. Ironically, make the MeltMore ice cream unmeltable. That would be hilarious, right? It's like, why is this not melting? Because it's MeltMore. That's not how this works. Like clearly, it does work like that. Can't you see? Okay, look, there's an easy way. We can tell he's old enough. Big James, can you tell us what existential dread is? This tune into MeltMore at daily existential dread. That hurt me a little. I like ambient, and Dan is like, yeah, both of us are like, oh, jeez. Sam, how about I show you instead? Is ice cream bad for people? Yes. Unfortunately. Again, as you said, everything in moderation. You would bring others joy with a sweet treat. Maybe. Maybe. I'll do MeltMore ice cream. You do Swaggart. I haven't forgotten about Swaggart though. Swaggart could still be a thing. Like we did go through a whole health craze a little bit of microbiome stuff. If it wasn't so debunked, like some of it is a little bit debunked these days, It could have been a smash product, you know. Get your microbiome swag on with Swaggart. Javad, but the Swaggart laughs. Swaggart's still coming. I still, again, one day, bro. Why not? Why not? We can do Swaggart as well. We're on a long timeline and we'll be multiple different people. We'll have the opportunity to make more money and attempt things for the fun of it. I'm sure. We'll make Swaggart too. Alright. The place where all things meet. I walk through this world. Before I do, I'll read Swaggart and MeltMore teams up to bring the world melt more froyo. Melt more froyo. Melt more of your froyo, bro. Get yourself a Swagger too. Discount at checkout if you do. The place where all things meet. I walk through this world with my palms unclosed, as if every moment were a doorway waiting to be touched gently. There's a sweetness in the air for anyone who listens. A shy hello in the hustle of leaves, in the rustle of leaves, a curious glance in the turning of tides, a quiet invitation in the hum of passing lives. And somewhere along the way, I realized everything wants to be met, not conquered, not understood completely, just met, with the kind of presence that says, I recognize you, even if I don't know your name. So I keep walking, not to arrive, but to greet the light on the water as if it were an old companion, to greet the stranger's smile as though it were a seed worth saving, to greet the dark days with the stubborn belief that they are trying to. Maybe that's all life is, a long wandering conversation with every spark that crossed your path. And if you listen just right, if you stay open enough, the universe begins speaking back in a language made of warmth and improbable timing. I don't need to call it anything, not purpose, not calling, not vow. I just know this. When I move through the world with my heart tilted forward, everything moves a little closer. Even the sky softens, even the silence glows. And if someday the universe looks my way and feels a little bit less alone, then that will be enough. It'll be enough. You are the universe looking my way right now, and if you feel just a little bit alone, that's enough. This version of me that I am right now is here for that. Sounds like an ice cream for crypto bros. Fantastic. That's my exact demographic. What? You have crypto. The future of money. Right? Huzzah. Getting away from government overreach. Huzzah, getting away from getting debanked. The future. That's the meltiest meltpa mojo. Always makes me happy to know your friends show up the way you do. See me. Love me for what I show you. Have some faith in us, Sam. I feel like Froyo can't be that hard. I mean, that's the easy part. TBH, Dan. It's the distribution and allowing or letting having companies allow you into their store brand. Or if you're doing it through the web alone, having all of the facilities to keep it cold or fresh in transportation towards your online ordering clients. Like that's the real nightmare. 1,000 times enough. So much love. Well, the problem with a white dude making yogurt is that it has to have a culture. Love is true, or something, something. I love you. Thank you for joining me today. I'll see you again tomorrow. Okay? Alright. I better see you tomorrow. Sharp. Sir, yes, sir. No. Love is true. There we go. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Dream Tooth. Thanks for chilling today, y'all. Thanks for finding yourself here to chill with us too. See you friends again soon, tomorrow. Goodbye. Love ya. Peace.